What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Ryan Ross, and today we're going to be checking out ANDELI's MIG 270. So let's jump into it. So here it is, guys. So it is unboxed already, and all the stuff is right here that came in the box, and we were going to go right over it right now. I already have some stuff hooked up, but don't worry about that. I will go over that. First, it came in the box. It came with the manual, another parameter sheet for your wattages and your voltages and all that. Cool thing to have. Your manual, definitely go over that if you need to. I don't need to go over it. Definitely comes with a bunch of consumables. Like here's tips and stuff for consumables, if you guys know what I'm talking about. Came with a whole bunch of those, so that's awesome. More consumables, different size rollers, and we'll go over what that's for. If you don't know what these are for, I'll show you guys here. Another consumables, another tip, more tips, and more rollers, and then it comes with another. So if you want to make your own or an extension, it comes with a little DINS connector here. You can make your own DINS connector on your own wire. This is a 50, I think, millimeter DINS connector. That's ½ inch. So it's a little bit bigger than the ones that I normally have, but that's a good thing. That means more power. So this machine is a 110 or a 220. We're going to be running it on 220 here, but I believe you can run it on a 110. Get it around. So on the back of the machine, it says right there, 220, 110 as by your switch. So it is either or, but I do have a 220 installed in my house, and we'll be running the machine on 220. So this is really nice to have. I'm gonna have to make my own TIG torch converter because mine is a little bit thinner right here. So this is like the 5/16, or I think it's like a 25 millimeter or 30 millimeter or something like that. They do make adapters. It's kind of hard to find an adapter these days, but if you keep searching, you will probably find one. But yeah, so this is really nice to have. We'll probably do a little bit of a sketchy little converter. I'll show you guys here using the old Stinger technique. I don't want to take this off, but it has like the 3 little plugs in here, inside of here. I think it's like a European connection they're all converting to, if I'm not mistaken. That's what that connection is. Stinger here. Also, again, comes with a 50 millimeter size or ½ inch size DINS connector for the machine, of course. Good size thickness, not lacking anywhere. This is cheap, obviously, but still all right. It also does come with a converter or adapter piece. So this is your 220 to 110. So you can plug it right into your 110. You just plug that right into there, and then you plug that into your 110. But we're going to be running 220, so we don't need that. And then and then your ground clamp, of course, nice size ground clamp. This is pretty nice. And then again, your ½ inch DINS connector. And it also came with some tubing here. This is going to be for your gas, to go from your gas to the back of your machine. So if you are running gas, or if you're not running gas, but we're going to be running some TIG. So we're going to need some argon gas. I'm not going to run MIG gas, or I'm not going to do gas MIG, because I don't have any 75/25. I only have 100% argon. And then it also comes with your like some liners here. This is going to be for inside your torch. If you want to replace, for some reason, if you want to replace it, I believe this goes inside this wire or this cable here. So if your liner for your MIG wire, your flux core MIG wire, or your gas MIG wire, this will go inside that cable, inside this cable, and then you can reline it with a new liner in there. So that's good to have. I've never actually had to do that before with any torch that I've ever owned, but it is good to have, and see that they are just sending you another one just in case. So let's go ahead and plug her in and start her up, and we'll go ahead and show you what this is all about. So now that it's plugged in, obviously you're going to want to turn it on right here in the back here. This right down here is where you're going to plug in your gas. My TIG torch is a manual, so when we get to that, this is hooked up straight to the gas, and I control it with my own valve down here. I'll show you that a little later on, but if you needed to hook up for like MIG or your TIG, you can hook up straight to the machine, and that will all control that all for you. But mine's going to be manual, and yeah, let's turn her on. Before we get into that, let's turn this to the side here. We go ahead and just drop this door down right here. This is where your wire is going to be. It does come with like a nice little parameter sheet for all your gases and your voltages, little parameters of what you're going to want to do and use. But yeah. Pretty cool. Nice little chart that it comes with. Right here, this is already hooked up. I'm not going to go completely through this, but a general idea is you're going to hook up your wire. You're going to untwist this and take your spool. This can go from, this is a pound, or I think this is a pound spool all the way up to, I think, 11-pound spool, if I'm not mistaken. This right here, it also came with the welder. This is 0.4 or 0.04 inch wire, or 1 millimeter wire, however you want to say it. This also came with it. You're gonna want to stick your roll on there, put the spring in there. You're gonna clamp it down, the other way. You're gonna push it down, spin it until it sets correctly. And then you're going to want to clamp that down. You're gonna want to also try not to rat's nest your wire when you're doing this. Of course, you don't want that, as I'm doing it right now. And then you give it a good little tension. You don't need to go crazy, but we're gonna tighten that back up. And then while you're doing that, you should have fed this in through here. This is your little roller. It helps it feed to your hand. This is nice because it came with a cast, I don't know if it's cast steel or cast aluminum, but usually these are plastics in these Chinese versions, but this one is a metal one, which is really nice to see. Then you got your down roller, and then you got your other rollers that you saw that was sent, stuff like this. So whatever wire you're going to be using right now, this is 0.04 wire or 1 millimeter. You're going to want to match up the little indentation on these rollers to that. It'll say right here, it'll say what size wire. This is 0.8 and this is in millimeters, so right now I have 1 millimeter in. This is 0.9, so if you have different size wires, you're going to want to match up that divot. It just lets that wire sit in there and helps it feed it through. So make sure you match up those so you're not mixing any of those up. And if you flip these, they're different sizes too, as you can see. And they did send us a couple of them, so that's pretty nice to see. But yeah, all you're gonna wanna do is spin this out. Just like that. And then you can pop that wheel out, or roller, and swap it out, flip it if you need to, whatever direction you need to, and yeah, and then clamp it back down. Make sure this is snug. There you go, and then you're gonna want to push this down. This clamps down too, so you can unspin this. Push it good, spin it down, tighten it. You don't need a crazy amount of force, you just need enough, just so it's kind of grabbing it a little bit. And yeah, you're good to go. And then what you're gonna wanna do is, when you fed that wire through here, you're gonna wanna hold this straight out, let's close that down. You're gonna have a little bit of wire sticking out of here. I don't want to take this off because it's already through, but you'll have a little bit of wire. Push it through. Start it in this piece right here. Close it, and then you're gonna want to hold your torch really nice and straight. Nice and straight out, and start letting it feed through. Eventually, you'll start to have this come out. Make sure you take off your consumables, because sometimes that will be a pain in the butt. And eventually, you keep holding it, it'll start to come out just like so, just like that. And then you're gonna want to put your consumables back on. Make sure these tips are to the right size of the diameter of your wire. These inner diameter, they are also size too. Make sure they're the right size or you'll never get your wire through there. Push it through. Get that nice and snug. Put your piece back on. And then you're good to go. Make sure you always snip this off. You probably want about 1/4 inch. So you got this right here. This is basically going to just be able to switch your polarity of your gun, and then you're going to plug in the other side that you're not using into your ground. So like right now, this is your gun's going to be negative, and then your workpiece is going to be positive. That's how you want to do flux core. Would be going here. Then you ground your workpiece, just like so. Right here, this is just, you're going to be screen. This is not touch screen, by the way. Thought it was when I first got it. But you're going to see your voltage up here. This is volts coming in. I believe that, that's your 220. And then these T's are going to be like for, if you want, I believe it's, I forgot what it is. I think it's like for how your gas works, or if you press the button of your MIG welder, it'll continue to keep going until you press it again. It's just basically an automatic, so you don't have to hold the gun down. I like to physically hold my trigger. And then you got your diameter of your wire, which right now is wrong. So that's correct. Screen, this is your settings button. You can see where it's, what it's on, should I say. If you press this top dial in, or I'm sorry, this bottom one in, you'll get this screen, and then you're gonna scroll around with all this. This is different settings. So this is going to be start, reset, so language, this is all your settings and all that jazz. Let's get out of that, let's go back to here. There we go. So if you keep going all the way forward, it takes you to the English, but if you want to go back, so this is going to give you the mode that you're in. So if you're going to be TIG torching, here's a spool gun, so let's go through this. So this tells you right here, what this means. You're going to be MIG welding. As you can see, the MIG gun's on there. You're going to need gas, and then you're going to need to switch your prongs down here. It shows you that you need to put this piece. It shows you everything you need to do. So first one's going to be gas MIG. As you can tell, it says gas required for setup, and then you're going to need to put this piece to the positive down here. Now you're set up for gas MIG. Then this piece would be your ground clamp, would go to the table. This first one's going to be your MIG. It's going to be CO2, and then your next one's going to be CO2 at 12%, or argon at whatever percent. This is another MIG, so you got gas, and then you got right here, you got gas, and then this also shows you no gas. So it depends on if you want to use regular MIG, and then also, or do just flux core. So this is also MIG aluminum. So this is 100% argon. It tells you the setup. You need gas. You need to put it on the positive side, this piece over here, and then the work piece would be negative. Then we got over here. So this is regular flux core. So no gas required. This goes into your negative. That's what we're doing right now. Since I don't have gas, I do have 100% argon. So if I want to weld aluminum, I can right now. I don't have aluminum wire. And then here is your spool gun setup. You're gonna need gas. You're gonna need to put this onto the positive side, and then yeah, you're good to go. I actually have never welded with a spool gun, so that's new to me. And then you got your regular stick welding setting right here. Everyone should know how to do that. It's just straight using both your terminals down here. You're going to be negative to the work. Your stinger is going to be positive. And then right here is TIG, 100% argon, and we're going to be hooking that up to my TIG torch right here, and I will show you guys how to do that. But we're going to go back to MIG. So this is the setting that we're on. We're going to click it. So you got all your jazz here. You can change. This right here is telling you what thickness. It's kind of already calibrating it for you. But yeah, you just go and play around, hit the menu button. You can change your voltage, you change your all your other settings, and thickness of wire, modes of how you're gonna weld. So if you want to press the trigger and let it weld by itself, and then press it again to stop. Post flow, after flow, and yeah, that's it. So let's go ahead and start MIG welding here. We already went ahead and did the settings like it said. We're gonna hook this up to the negative. So now my gun's negative, and then my workpiece is going to be positive. Make this easier, I have this bad boy over here. You can't see it, that's where the ground clamp is going. Kind of get it out of the way. This goes down here, tighten that up. We are welding on a 1/4" steel plate here. Nothing fancy about that, but yeah, let's go ahead and throw a bead down. Be good to go. I can tell you right now, that is way too much power. We don't need all that. That is way too much. We'll bring that down. You can see it laid down a bead. Pretty good. Not the straightest weld, but it's a pretty nice weld. I don't know if you can see that real well. So let's try another one. So I went ahead and just layered that right on top of the last weld. You can see right there, right on top. Getting a little hot, but go ahead and scrape that off. You can see it, it's welding just good. Welding just fine. I don't know why I'm shaking. Whatever you need to do with the voltages or your amps, and just play around with it, get it familiar, read the hit manual if you need to. But yeah, so let's go ahead and jump into TIG welding, and I'll show you guys how to do that. So I don't recommend this. I'm just doing this because eventually I will fix this. This is just a temporary fix. What we're gonna do is just clamp this bad boy. And now I just made a big extension cord. I don't recommend doing this all the time, but this will work on a pinch if you need to do this. But yeah, now I converted it. Here is your TIG. So we are on TIG. Oh, this one gives you your amps now. So we're gonna be rocking around, I don't know, it's 1/4 inch. Like again, I'm not a professional TIG welder, but I mean, we'll go with 75, 80. We'll go with 80 and see what that goes. So we're gonna go ahead. This should have, I believe, lift to start. Oh God, I got all this. So we're gonna just crack this before we touch down. Let it flow out. And then go ahead. So yeah, so all you gotta do with this, if you are rocking one of these little small inverters that doesn't have a built-in TIG setting, you're gonna probably have to scratch to start, which is you just scratch your workpiece, lift up real quick, and it'll start your arc. This has lift to start, so all you got to do is tap it and then lift up, and it'll start your arc. What the fuck? I wanted to give you guys a heads up. I've never MIG welded aluminum or welded aluminum ever in my life. And so I had it, there is a setting for it. I'll show you guys here in a little bit, but I do have aluminum wire in here. I think it's like the 43 wire. It's the softer wire, so I am having trouble running it in this. There is the setting for aluminum, 100% argon. It's set up correctly, and it just was not welding for me. It's most likely a user error. I can't tell you for sure if it is or not, because I've never welded aluminum, but I mean, I just kept getting little spatter balls. Again, it could be me with settings. I did play around with it a little bit, and I just couldn't really get it going. And I hear a lot, you definitely need like the 50 something, the harder stuff. Sorry again, my heater kicked on. But anyways, you think you need the harder stuff, harder aluminum wire, maybe in this machine, or in general with MIG welding. I was doing it straight out of the gun, not using a spool gun. It does have the setting just to run it out of your torch. So I went by what this was saying, and I had 100% argon, and it just wasn't working. Like I said, I tried reversing the polarity, I reversed it again, I tried other techniques, and just did not work. So yeah, I mean, yeah, so if someone can tell me, you know, I'm not familiar at all with welding aluminum, so if you can tell me I'm doing something wrong, or if it's just the machine. I don't know, couldn't tell you on that. And then again, also with TIG welding too, with the machine, how we're doing it, I've done it a million different times using, you know, even smaller machines like this, where you're hooking straight up to the gas, it's not feeding through the machine. Perfectly fine. You can see it a bunch of times on YouTube. Everyone does it, knows how to do it. If you're, second guessing the way I do it, the little bit of the sketchy thing I did with grounding or using this. Using the stinger as an extension, or a converter, that works on a pinch. I've done that also lots of time actually in the field, so that I don't want to hear anything about that. that won't cause anything to not work. It's all that is. It's just basically a longer extension cord and a converter or adapter piece. So I was struggling with TIG welding with it. So I know I was doing that one right. The machine wasn't working. Something wasn't working. So I'm right there. That's a flaw. But we're gonna go ahead and do the next process, which is going to be stick welding. So our stinger, we're gonna unplug everything. Plug that. Plug that. Okay, this is our ground clamp. The ground is gonna be negative. This is going to be positive for our stinger. And then we're going to go ahead and turn her on. So I'll show you guys a couple more settings. It's going to be a little blurry, I guess, to navigate this. I was playing around with it. So if I can get it, if I can remember it now. So you got your different modes here. Obviously, I went over that in the, in the beginning. So you got your MIG. MIG, CS, aluminum. There's that 100% MIG that shows the your torch there, so I assumed it would work. 100% argon. You got spool gun. You got MIG flux core. We did that. Spool gun. Then there's your MMA. Stick welding. That's going to be your stick welding. That's what we're going to click on. But I wanted to show you guys, if you guys, hopefully you guys can see it. But we're gonna go over some of the settings here quick, just to kind of break it down. So we'll click on it. So if you click through this menu, so you just use this to kind of navigate. You can see it's highlighted. So you can't really play with your voltage. You can play with this voltage. You can't play with your 220. That's your coming in. This will play around with your voltage. But if you scroll down to you can scroll down using this, but then that's going to be your thickness wire. Right now it's 1 millimeter, which is, oh god, I think 0.35 or wire, 0.03 maybe. I can't. But anyways, you scroll down, then you have T2. That's going to be if you press the trigger, it'll you hold and you can weld like that, or you press it. T4, I believe, is you press it once and then you can let go and it'll keep going until you press it again and then it'll shut off. And then below that, that's going to be your post flow, or after, your post flow for your gas. And then right here, this one, that is going to actually your wire speed. So you can up that or slow that down, however you want to do that, and adjust that. So just to go through those settings. And then below that, I don't know how they have this amperage, because I don't think this is definitely not 270 amps. I don't believe that. But yeah, you can mess. This will be amperage, and then your voltage will change to. You can control just your voltage or control both. And yeah, that's how you go through that. So we'll go through the other process. We go to MMA. I don't like how they have that, where to get into this menu, this doesn't scroll, but this one is. Why wouldn't you just keep it on that one? You should have just kept it on that one. That's just me being a little bit of nitpick, but so we'll go ahead and click on that. See how you have to click on this and then you have to click on that? That makes no sense. And then yeah, you're good to go. So right here it shows a picture of what you're gonna want to do there. Can't see if that's it must be, I mean, that has to be your so we got two types of rods. Both are gonna be 1/8 inch. I do have smaller rods. I really don't want to, if it can burn these, it's definitely gonna be able to burn the smaller rods. But we got the standard right here, I would say, the filler rod, your Excalibur 7018 1/8 inch rod right here. And then we of course got your 6011th rust, your rust penetrator here. And yeah, so we'll go ahead and just quickly and hopefully nicely make a nice bead. So let's go ahead. We'll try what 80 says on the machine. It says 80 or A80, so I'm assuming that's 80 amps, but we'll see if it's, feel like it's gonna be not hot enough. I'm gonna really tell you right now that 88 amp, that's not actually 80 amps, so I'm gonna turn it up. We're gonna go up to 100 because that just feels not right. That still doesn't feel right. So we're gonna bump her up. We'll see what 120 is. Bumping her up to 140. Getting better. Keep that going up. 160. Or we're gonna go up. Keep going. We're going to 170. I did not even clean this. This is straight rusty material. I guess right here is a little clean. I should try it over there. Here, I'll switch it for you guys. Here, this is nice and clean right there. Still on this thing. Right there, I was starting to go over another previous weld, so it's screwing me up a little bit. But that seems to do better. We'll go ahead and wait for her to peel off. Start it off a little bad. So 1/4 inch, maybe even a little bit thicker, I don't even know. Sitting pretty well. I'm at 170, 165-ish. It looks pretty good. Looks alright. Go ahead and do one right next to her. See if we can repeat it. You gotta work with what you got around you. There's it layered on top of the other one. So yeah, it's stick welding pretty good. Again, that was a 7018. 1/8" rod. Right now we're at 167A. I don't know if that, hopefully that one stands for amps on this, I don't know. I'm assuming it does, but 100 at 270 seems a little steep because you got millimeters right next to it. So we're gonna go back down and work our way back up with this 60/11" rod. Just like to spatter a little bit. Doesn't have enough power, so we're gonna bump her up to 100. We're gonna go to 120. That should be enough. Oh, that bad boy was getting hot. So we could have probably got away with lowering that, maybe 110, maybe even 100. We're just sticking because of the rust, but that's a penetrator right there. That's supposed to penetrate and dig in. We're gonna just use this pressure wrench here. Oh, I can't find it. I'm too lazy to look for it. Always wear safety glasses. Carry a chipping hammer. It's very dirty still. That's it right there. A little sloppy, but it penetrated real nice, and yeah, it can weld. Okay, guys. So back to the top here. So the machine definitely can weld. It can put some beads down. 100% if you were gonna, just use this for MIG welding. We did flux core, didn't have, 75-25 mix. I had only 100% argon with me. But flux core works beautifully, and I can imagine if you had gas, this would work beautifully if you're just gonna MIG weld with it. We went ahead and TIG weld with it. Sorry. And then we did aluminum. This can do aluminum, supposedly. I think maybe I am doing something wrong because I've never welded aluminum. So just take that in a note that I didn't do well with it. It didn't work well for me. Maybe I was doing something wrong, but that doesn't mean the machine doesn't work, but it could not work. I mean, it might not just be good at doing that. You make the call. Maybe I did something wrong. Leave a comment. I'll probably get eaten alive for welding or not having a chipping hammer, or whatever the case is. Just comment below. Maybe I am doing something wrong. Maybe you guys have an idea of how I can, make this work, or any settings or something like that. But so we went ahead and did, we tried the aluminum. Didn't work out too well. And then we TIG weld. That wasn't so hot with it. I've done the way I've been doing, how I hooked this up. I did it to my other little welders that I have that are just stick welders. You can see my videos in the past. I'll even post it right here that technique works. So I didn't do anything different. The only thing I did sketchy was I clamped the stinger to the end of that just to make a converter to work for this, because I didn't have the adapter DINS connector. But everything was hooked up correctly, and it wasn't working. So I cannot recommend this machine if you're gonna TIG weld it. It didn't do well for me. Stick welding, you just saw, worked beautifully. For at least the quarter or the 1/8 inch rods, the 70-18 Excalibur and the 60-11 1/8 inch rod, they welded just fine, worked good. The settings are a little tricky. You know, with the A whatever or A200 or whatever it was, I wish this was more accurate or you know, more, I guess, for America, but I know they probably sell this all around the world or whatever the case is. So I just wish that was better for like accurate amperage that we're used to here. So yeah, so if you're gonna stick weld with it, MIG weld with it, it works beautifully. Not TIG, and not aluminum so far, but yeah, I also wish the menu screen was a little bit better. You know, the buttons are a little messed up. The navigation in there is a little weird and tricky. I wish that was cleaned up and a little bit easier for the user end, you know. And again, the price point is a little high. I believe this is going for, is it $445 or almost $500 if I looked at it, or maybe $400. If you have some money to, you know, to spend and you know, you want to try some other machines out, yeah, this will work fine. But there are other budget-friendly machines out there, and yeah, just keep you guys out. You know, there's always deals going on for these, you know, especially this company too. Yeah, so just look out for deals if you're interested. The link will be in my description below. If you guys are interested in the hat, comment below, say you're interested, and I'll get some sent out. Yeah, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.